Yeah? Great. Hi, everybody. Hello. Thank you for coming. I am super excited to be here, super excited. This is the last session of Unite 2011. So I'm just super psyched to actually be giving really the last session here. I just want to thank David and everybody else at Unity for putting on such an awesome conference, and thank you for coming. It's just been an amazing 3 days, so it's just awesome. I am so psyched to be here, guys. What I'm going to be talking today about is monetizing games, and specifically talking about monetizing via microtransactions, which is something that I've been working with since about 2005. Was working with microtransactions on the open web, and then later on the Facebook platform, and now I'm working with them in mobile. And it's really just kind of the same story all around. Microtransactions are awesome, and it's really the best way to monetize your games. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the history of the way games monetize, and kind of how we arrived at microtransactions, and then give you some pointers is basically on how to design your games and basically how to make more money from your games. So welcome to Microtransactions, a love story, because I'm in love with this stuff. So how do games monetize? Lots of ways to monetize your games. I'm going to walk you through some of the things today. So number one, paid download. We've all seen this before. You pay once and that's it. There's sort of sometimes you get this kind of try and buy scenario, which reduces the friction. People might want to download your game a little bit more often because you can actually try it for a little while before you actually have to pay for it. But the key point here is that if you've got a single paid download, the max revenue per customer is just the cost of the download. You can't make any more money than that. So if you're charging $4.99, you're going to make $4.99 per customer. You can't make any more per customer than that. Price of the SKU is the max revenue per customer, which is really not the case in microtransactions and other models. So let's take a look at the way this looks on the internet right now. This is how it is on the open web. I don't have like a V1 version of this 10 years ago when PopCap had Bejeweled 1.0 out, but it's basically the same thing. You've got you go to the destination site on the open web, popcap.com. You pick a game that you might want to play, Bejeweled, and you look at it and you're like, all right, this is good. You can see the call to action down here. Try now, the big yellow button in the lower right, and add to cart if you just want to go ahead and download it. And you've got the price point there at $19.95. So paid download, max revenue per customer is $20. So by the way, let's actually take a look at this call to action here. Try now is really the biggest thing here. 60-minute free trial. The word free is over there. But is this really a free-to-play game? A lot of people are like, so free-to-play has been around forever. You can totally try this for free. This is not a free-to-play game. Absolutely not. Couple of reasons. Number one, your call to action is try now. You can try the game for free. You actually can't play it for as long as you want to. In fact, they actually emphasize that right underneath. 60-minute free trial, that's the limit of how much you can actually play the game. So it's really not free to play. It's free to play for 60 minutes. That's not really a full enriching experience. And also, I like to point out the price point of the game is really heavily visible. Free to play, you're never going to see a price point. So let's just take a look at some calls to action for other games on the internet. You've got a couple games I worked on down here, bottom right. You've got Puzzle Pirates, start for free. Spiral Knights, play now. I think we've got RuneScape and probably Lord of the Rings Online or whatever. You're not going to see the word try here. You've got play, you've got start, you've got choose, you've got join. You see the word free is in capitals, and like all of these, it's very heavily emphasized. And further to the point, you're never going to see a price point on a call to action for a free-to-play game. So you've got all these great verbs, play and join, whatever. You don't have the word try. There is no try in free-to-play. So in the words of a very, very, very wise man, play or play not, there is no try. You're never going to see try in a free-to-play game. So what else we got? We've got paid download. How many other ways are there to monetize games on the open web or whatever? Oh, by the way, so this model is it's still alive. It's alive on mobile, very fully. You've got a paid download right here, Madden NFL 12. The same model that was viable 10 years ago on the open web just got ported over to mobile. It's right here, $10, one and done, no microtransactions, one download for $10. You're never going to make more than $10 from a customer. And this model is actually still alive on the open web right now. You've got it with Telltale, does it with Sam and Max. Sam & Max is like the most awesome cartoon. If you guys don't know it, then you absolutely should, because it's freaking hilarious. And Telltale got the rights to do some adventure games for it. It's really awesome. You go to their website. This is actually a package that they got, but you can download individual episodes, play it on your PC. Again, one and done. Never going to make more than this price point per customer. And they're also doing the same thing on mobile right now. This is their iPad game. $7. That's it. They're never going to make more than $7 per customer. So, good model. Little bit of revenue, lots of friction getting in, because you're asking people to really go off some screenshots and kind of what they know about the game before they ever buy it. It's very similar with the console experience. You're asking somebody to pay $60 before they've actually played the game. There's a lot more marketing that goes into it, obviously with console games, and PR and stuff on the web with regard to videos and stuff. But nobody can actually play the game until they fork over their credit card. So that's the key with the paid download. Let's look at some other monetization methods. We've got advertising, and I'm not big on advertising for games, but let's take a look. We got the game it's almost always free. If you're sticking ads inside your paid game, that's not a really good experience. When people pay for something, they don't want to be advertised to as well. So that's one aspect about monetizing your game through advertising. It's going to have to be free. The ads they usually appear with banners in mobile. With web games, you'll see them sort of in the interstitial moments, like when you're going to a new level or something like that. In Flash, Mochi or somebody will stick like a 300 by 250 ad in Flash in between these games, and the developer will get a cut. The developer's paid basically for how many times those ads are viewed. But as you can see here, the revenue potential is super, super small. Long story short, there's a lot of people. These people, for example, taking a cut. These are the people that sort of like publish these ads, and they go between the developer and the publisher, and they do all this sort of heavy lifting, and these are the people making the most money here. Developer really doesn't get much money at the end of it. I mean, if you think back 5, 6, 7 years ago when people were writing Flash games out of the garage, they were lucky if they made like $1,000 a month, and they were super happy from advertising, and that was the entire model. And you're seeing a lot of the same thing going on the mobile platforms right now. People are putting games up for free. They're not trying to monetize them through microtransactions. They're going through AdMob and some other companies and trying to put ads up in their games. And they're certainly making some money. It's a nice little value add, but it's not a scalable model at all. And this is what I tell people. The position that you want to be as a developer, you don't want to be in the position of selling your inventory to one of these guys. You want to be in the position of buying inventory from one of these guys, because you're making enough money from your microtransactions and the way you monetize games to be able to buy inventory from these guys. If you're selling inventory, that means you've already kind of lost the game. So let's look at another way to monetize games, subscriptions. We know plenty of things about subscriptions on the web. We've got World of Warcraft. We've got Club Penguin, right here, Rift. Great way to monetize games, but it's probably not the most viable method for most people. You think about how much content you have to put into a game for somebody to play it for a single month. You have to do that times 6, times 12 to be able to actually get a subscription service going. So subscriptions are great for games that have tons and tons of extended long content. It's probably not great for an indie developer. Again, it's great for MMOs with tons and tons of content. It doesn't really work otherwise. And if you think about it just in terms of a pretty simple equation, the max revenue you can ever get from a customer is however many months you can actually squeeze out of them times your subscription fee if it's $10. So if you get 10 months times $10, you're going to get $100 per customer. That's great, but again, that's your cap. I've worked on MMOs before that worked with microtransactions, and I've worked on MMOs that work with subscriptions. And in microtransactions, we had people spending thousands of dollars. Take World of Warcraft, which has been around for 6+ years. If you do the math on the subscription fee times however many months the game's been out, maybe a few people have spent $1,000, but certainly not 2, and certainly not thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. There's a cap. Subscriptions absolutely cap your revenue. So, and here's some examples: Rift, World of Warcraft, and it works for kids as well. Club Penguin is super successful. They were independent, got bought by Disney, and they're just they're killing it. They're owning that market. But again, it's not necessarily for everybody here. So, coming along to microtransactions. Woohoo! My favorite thing. How do you use microtransactions in your games to monetize? Very simple. You sell in-game currency, and people can buy all these things. They can buy weapons, they can buy upgrades for their character, they can buy skills, they can buy expansions, more levels, more areas to build in. They can have them customize their avatar by selling clothing, changing gender, all these different things. You can actually give them faster service. I've seen this a lot with a lot of MMOs and other things where like you can connect to a server that's not as crowded and you get a much more smooth experience, and this is something people are gaining with a subscription fee. But more to the point, anything that you want to offer, anything, you can monetize with microtransactions. And I think that's the key point here. You can put anything you want behind a paywall. There's absolutely no limit to the creativity. I have, every day I download games on iOS and play new mobile games, and I'm constantly surprised by the really cool and creative things that people have put behind a paywall, not in a really ugly way, but in a really interesting way to where you can get there by kind of grinding out the play, or you can break out your credit card and buy a few dollars worth of IAP and kind of unlock what they want you to unlock. It's really, really awesome stuff. So that's the key here. Anything that you want to put behind a paywall, you can. So let's take a look at this slide. This is what a lot of people think of when they think about free-to-play and microtransactions-based games. You've got Farmville, Webkinz Pet Society, Puzzle Pirates. These are a lot of games I've worked on, actually. Tiny Zoo, Habbo Hotel, Top Girl, and Neopets. And this is what most people think, that it's mostly for 38-year-old women and their children. And this is largely true. This is probably what's dominating the microtransactions free-to-play market right now. This is if you look at just the slew of the content that's out there that's using those methods, this is mostly what you see, but it's not all of what you see. You also see this. All of these games here also use microtransactions to monetize. Metalstorm, really amazing game from Z2 Live. It's basically like dogfighting on your iPad. I honestly don't think mom's playing that game. Cartrider, we all know, is probably the oldest free-to-play microtransactions game in the world. I think like some absurd statistic, like the majority population of Korea has played this game. I think it got supplanted by StarCraft as the national sport of Korea, but it's an amazing game. Another game I worked on here, Jetpack Joyride. This is a game by the guys who did Fruit Ninja. They're down in Brisbane, Australia. Amazing game. Cute little, I wouldn't call it a platformer because you're floating through, but it's a side-scrolling game. Very arcadey, and they use IAP to monetize, and we're actually going to come back to them in a minute. And then a couple other games. These games certainly not targeted for the, again, 38-year-old mom and her child demographic that also use microtransactions to monetize. And actually, one thing, I actually didn't plan this when I made these two slides, but look at the color differences between the logos here. You've got bright and colorful and rainbow colors and dark, evil, brooding colors. Pretty awesome stuff. Happy brooding. Okay, so I've talked about 4 ways the games monetize: paid download, advertising, subscriptions, and microtransactions. These are the 4 ways I chose to speak about. There's a couple of others, but not so big these days. I want to talk about these 4, and if I may, I'm going to do a little business school 101 thing and kind of map these on a graph. Just to illustrate kind of where we are. So there's kind of 2 axes that I think about when I think about ways to monetize games. We've got lack of friction. So friction meaning, is there a barrier to entry for people to get into the game? If there's a very, very high price point, $60, $70 or something like that, there's not too many people who are going to go to GameStop and buy that game unless you market the heck out of it. Same thing with an iPad. If you've got a $10 game, people really got to be interested in that game. People have really got to be interested by your marketing or the screenshots or some sort of write-up on a fan site or something like that to really download the game. If your game is free, you've got no friction. So that's how that works. And this is revenue potential up on here. This is just the potential for revenue. If you've got a cap on the revenue, you're basically going to be at that cap. That's your revenue potential. So let's actually map these 4 methods on this Business School 101 graph here. We've got a paid download. Paid download's got a high friction because there's a cost to your download, so it's going to be all the way on the left here. And again, your revenue is kind of capped at whatever your price point is, so that's kind of where paid download lands. you've got advertising. And like I said before, most advertising games, there's very little friction going in because they're going to be free, but the revenue that you're going to get is diddly. So good luck with that.